Hi everyone, welcome to your evidence-based practice course. I'm Dr. Tracy Hardell and I am going to be your instructor. I've taught this course quite a few times and I really like it. My students have told me that the most difficult part is choosing a topic to focus on. So I'm going to be sharing a lot about that in this video. So the whole point of the course is to create a proposal for implementing an evidence-based practice in a clinical setting. Okay, some of my students focused on a problem that they're currently facing in their workplace, and others have taken kind of a more general approach to just a topic that they're aware of in the clinical setting. So let's think about the workplace piece. So let's say that you identified a clinical problem in the workplace and you're hoping to find an evidence-based solution to implement to address that problem. Okay, so you'd start by defining your problem and looking at some different organizational factors that might come into play, and then you would dig into the literature to see what research had actually been done on the project. Now, if you found a lot of quality studies that have been conducted, great. If not, you might wait on addressing the problem until there was more research available, or you might try to conduct action research within your facility to address the problem, right? Unfortunately, within our course, neither of those two things are an option. You actually have to find a problem where there is enough evidence to create a proposal. I've had students get to week 3 and week 4 and realize that they've chosen a topic that there's not enough research to support a proposal. And they had to change everything mid-course, and it was so disheartening. And I really want you to avoid that. So let's talk about a few things. So in this first week, you don't have an assignment. But by the end of the second week, you're going to need to write about the clinical problem that you're addressing, and you're also going to be writing about the setting in which the change is going to take place. Okay, so between now and then, it would really benefit you to dig into the literature about the topic that you're interested in. You want to make sure that there's enough research that has been conducted on that topic. And I'm referring to actual true research studies, not just articles that have been written about your topic. Okay? So that's a good thing, kind of a place to start. There's one more thing to consider. True evidence-based practice, if you look at the actual definition of evidence-based practice, has some tie to patients. There's some way that patients are impacted. So your topic has to be tied to patients in some way. And some people ask me, well, you know, my emphasis is leadership, or my emphasis is public health, or something like that. That's okay. We can still tie it all to patients, and a lot of your emphasis area will come out in the implementation. But let's just look at some things. So some of the projects that have been directly tied to patients have been like implementing a nurse-driven catheter protocol, catheter removal protocol, implementing an evidence-based proposal to decrease central line-associated infection rates. Okay, those are pretty direct. Some of the other examples are maybe implementing bedside report. I've had some people do that. I've had a person implement a new screening tool for risk of suicide. So I've had some different topics that aren't so directly related to the patient that still allowed things to shine through. Let's say that you're maybe in education, that's your emphasis area. Well, then your emphasis area will really shine through when you're implementing and having to educate staff about this project and the change process, and that's where your emphasis area is going to really shine through. But in some way, your project has to be tied to patients somehow, okay? And so my overall goal for the course is that you really learn how to do this evidence-based practice project, but there has to be enough evidence to support the proposal, and it has to be some way tied to patients, okay? All right, so finally, the setting for the change that you want to implement has to actually be a real place. It can be your current workplace or maybe someplace you've worked before. It has to be someplace that you know a lot of detail about because you need that level of detail to be able to actually complete some of the assignments. Some of the assignments are about the organization itself, okay? I'm trying to think if there's any other tips that are coming to mind, but those are the really big kind of overall things that you need to really think about as you're going to be selecting a topic. So that's kind of the nitty-gritty. So each week you'll be completing 1 or 2 sections of the proposal, and then at the end of the course you will take the feedback that I've given on all those different sections, and you're going to combine them into a final written proposal and then a final PowerPoint presentation about your proposal, okay? I know this may sound like a large task, but I'm definitely here to help you. Some of my students have come into the course with a really clear idea of their project and were able to jump right in, and it was great. With other students, it's taken maybe a couple of phone calls for us to do some brainstorming and digging into your area until you're able to define something that is really workable. But I'm here with you. I'm going to be with you every step, and by the end of the course, I think you will be really proud of what you have accomplished. Okay, now that you know where you're headed, I want you to know that each week I will be posting one of these videos about the assignments for that week and the topics that we're going to be discussing in the main forum that week, and also tips from problems that my prior students have experienced with some of the assignments. So I'm going to post these videos both in the main forum and also in the announcements area. So if you need to go back and review them at some point, you'll be able to find them really quite easily. Okay, I really hope that you find them helpful. I think that's enough information for this week, don't you? All right, I am really looking forward to working with you, and I will see you all in the main forum.